Video is a video on metacognitive think aloud for how to apply your active reading strategies to fiction text, as well as do a rhetorical analysis and a summary. I will be reading Mona Gardner's The Dinner Party, which is using this template to summarize the text. I will provide the template as a page. Okay, I'm going to get started. So, The Dinner Party by Mona Gardner. I am not familiar with the author, so I thought I'll go ahead and make a prediction and then do a little bit of research on the author. And my prediction after reading, because there really isn't any headings or anything, and it's a very short story, that I will just read the first sentence of a couple of the lines. So the country is India. There are guests from, it looks like, America. And so I'm going to make a prediction that this dinner party is among people from many nations. And I'm going to go ahead and write that down because remember, you're supposed to write the symbol. So P for prediction, and then I'm going to write out my prediction really quick. Okay, and then my research, which I knew I was going to be doing this Think Aloud, I did look up Mona Gardner, and I found out that she's been published in the New Yorker. She's a world traveler, and she's had extensive experience traveling in India. So she's a pretty good, dependable source for writing this short story. And so I did a little bit of evaluating, even though that's an after reading strategy, because I needed to expand my prior knowledge. It just kind of fit in there before I started reading. Okay, so now I'm going to start reading. The country is India. A colonial official and his wife are giving a large dinner party. Colonial, I believe, is someone who lives like a native or someone who is just living in a country rule or in a place ruled by another country. And I think that because this is such a short story, it's really important that I know all of the vocabulary because the plot will be developed very quickly and I will need to understand how these terms are associated with the plot. So a colonial official and his wife are giving a large dinner party. They are seated with their guests. Army officers and government attachés, people who work with an ambassador and have specialized responsibilities, and their wives, and a visiting American naturalist. And I believe a naturalist is someone who studies like natural history, so like zoology, that sort of thing. And they're meeting in their spacious dining room, which has a bare marble floor, open rafters, and wide glass doors opening onto a veranda. So marble floors, it's large. I'm guessing that the host and hostess are very wealthy people, and obviously since they're inviting these very reputable group of people to their party, that they are probably considered some of the elite in their country. Now, I am going to automatically read this through a little bit of a feminist lens. I could also read it through a classist lens, and I'll talk about that after during the after reading strategies. But it seems like so far the men are singled out by their occupations, and women are singled out by how they're associated to the men. So the colonial official and his wife, the and government attachés and their wives. And so there's this inferiority hierarchy being set up here that I'm going to pay special attention to when I'm reading this. So that's called reading lens. Girl who insists that women have outgrown the jumping on a chair at the sight of a mouse ear, and a colonel who says they haven't. So, I would say it's not a matter of outgrowing. I don't think we've ever been in any particular air of ever being able to control our impulses in that way, and that's very stereotypical. And the colonel says that they haven't. And he states, a woman's unfailing reaction in any crisis, the colonel says, is to scream. I'm going to make a note that I'm inferring that the colonel is very sexist. And while a man may feel like it, He has that ounce more of nerve control than a woman has. So again, I'm inferring and drawing a conclusion that he feels women are inferior to men. And that last ounce is what counts. The American, and remember, does not join in the argument, but watches the other guests. So here I have a question. Does he have a different point of view? Does he think differently about this? As he looks at the face of the hostess, she is staring straight ahead, her muscles contracting slightly. So I'm wondering, why is all of a sudden her demeanor changing? So that's another question I have. As he looks, he sees a strange expression come over her face. With a slight gesture, she summons the native boy standing behind her chair and whispers to him. The boy's eyes widen and he quickly leaves the room. So then I have a question. What's going on? Why would there just be this sudden occurrence and change of the hostess's demeanor? Of the guests, none except the American notice this or sees a boy place a bowl of milk. That's confusing. And I had to reread that because I'm like, bowl of milk? He places a bowl of milk on the veranda just outside the open doors. So I put MC. I'm like, why would the boy in the middle of a dinner party put that out there? And I thought I read it wrong. And so I had to reread for clarification. The American comes up, or the American comes to with a start. In India, milk in a bowl means only one thing: bait for a snake. And I put exclamation point for surprising information. Oh no. He realizes there must be a cobra in the room. He looks up at the rafters, the likeliest place for a cobra, but they are bare. 3 corners of the room are empty, and in the 4th, the servants are waiting to serve the next course. There is only one place left, under the table. And again, I'm like tensing up myself thinking of a snake underneath a table that I'm sitting at. And I just had to ask for clarification in a couple of areas with vocabulary, and I would just circle the word, and then I looked it up just to make sure that I was on track, and I wanted just to clarify that I understood the text of this. So again, that was like colonial, naturalist, those kinds of words. His first impulse, so the naturalist's first impulse, is to jump back and warn the others, but he knows if he does this, the commotion would frighten the cobra into striking. He speaks quickly in a tone of voice that is so arresting that it sobers everyone. Okay, so I can infer here that because of his background training as a naturalist, he knew then that this is a course of action he'd have to take to keep everyone safe. So the naturalist says, I want to know just what control everyone at this table has. I will count to 300, that's 5 minutes, and not one of you is to move a muscle. Those who move will forfeit 50 rupees. Ready? The 20 people sit still like stone images while he counts. He's saying 280 when out of the corner of his eye he sees the cobra emerge and make for the bowl of milk. Screams ring out as he jumps and slams the veranda door so everybody remains safe. Okay, so I have here draw a conclusion. His quick thinking really saved everyone at the dinner party from being bit. You are right, Colonel, the host exclaims. A man just shown us an example of perfect control. And then in my head, I'm thinking, hey, wait a minute, so has the hostess. So that's a little bit of author's craft, situational irony, where I know as the reader something that the speaker at the time, which is the hostess's wife, does not know. Or I'm sorry, the colonel of the army does not know. And then the American says, turning to the hostess, just a minute. Mrs. Wyans, how did you know that the cobra was in the room? A faint smile lights up the woman's face as she replies, because it was crawling across my foot. And so that always gives me chills at the end. Author's craft irony, right? Because earlier the colonel was saying just how women lack the control of their nerves and will scream and go kind of crazy in any dire situation. So the irony here is that this cobra was crawling across a woman's foot, and she maintained the calmness to ask the servant to go get the cobra out. And so I thought that was a brilliant ending to this story, to blow that stereotype about women right out of the water. Now, I read this through the feminist lens, but I could have also read it through a classist lens, and really looking at the dichotomy between money, people without money, people who are oppressed through colonialism, and that would have brought in a little bit of a